Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the All-Party Parliamentary Group for AI discussion with Caroline Dinenage, and of course a huge welcome to the Minister. Minister, thank you very much for joining us. Apologies that we've had a little delay in getting everyone into the right place, ready to have this discussion. Now, what we are here to do this afternoon is to hear from the Minister, who was appointed Minister of State for Digital and Culture at the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport back in February, and to hear her views on three main areas, I suppose, really, which is how the current lockdown has increased digital dependency and how this might influence the UK's digital strategy, to bring the work of the APPG to the attention of the Minister, and to try and hopefully align our future work with the Minister's strategy. And the third is to understand the aims of the newly established global partnership on AI, of which the UK is a member, and how it will work with the OECD Global Parliamentary Network on AI. And so perhaps that's a good place to start, Minister, is perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the GPAI and the role you think it can have in scaling up AI investment in the UK to similar sort of levels as China and the USA.
Oh my goodness. So thank you very much for inviting me, Chairman. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for all the sterling work that your committee is doing in this space. It's really incredibly valuable. So as you know, we were, I think, the first country to back this initiative after it was first proposed by Prime Minister Trudeau and President Macron in 2018. And I think we're just in a really good place in terms of developing and implementing AI, but using a much more kind of pragmatic and responsible approach to adoption. And I think this will build confidence in the UK. We're already punching above our weight. As you know, we're the biggest digital country in Europe, and London is the AI venture capital of Europe, as you know. We saw investment holding up fairly well during this pandemic, and we have huge aspirations to really continue to build on that and to continue to support the incredible businesses and entrepreneurs in this space who are really sort of very globally world beating, but also we're very keen on the GPAI because of the drivers behind it, because of the the sort of the ethical drivers that kind of brought it about.
So I mean, you see a key role therefore in the GPAI helping to develop ethical and transparent global principles for AI, and that can be adopted and understood by all.
Yeah, I mean, so it's what we've always been really good at in the UK, about using AI in a way that's responsible and that is really sort of seeks to find solutions to some of the issues that we don't just find here, but actually that are being experienced around the world. The GPAI is expert-led, and so and I may be biased, but I think we're being represented by the very, very best from the UK at the most senior levels, and there is really early interest in kind of agreeing a mechanism for the kind of responsible practices of AI. And I just hope that it will be able to help address some of the global challenges that, unless we have an international response that that spans both the deployment and indeed the governance of AI technology, looking at the pandemic, but actually broadening to a range of other challenges, then these challenges are going to be insurmountable.
Okay, and so is that work that you're doing here in the UK as well? Talking to people about what they would want from a set of standards. And, is the department engaging with people like the BSI to hear their views on this?
Yeah, we're engaging in a lot of different directions, and really trying to put together an excellent panel of experts. We haven't yet decided who, but I can say that the UK will be leading by example on diversity, and really focusing on adopting the UN Sustainable Development Goals as its kind of central mission.
Right, okay. And where do you see the alignment of those two, the Sustainable Development Goals and the work you're doing?
Well, because I just feel that for so long, there's been a perception that the motivating factor between AI, behind AI, and sort of our kind of digital footprint around the world has been all about been about money. It's all been about the kind of global superiority. But actually, it's got such a key role in seeking to solve some of the big ethical issues that we face, and some of the big practical challenges, from the pandemic to climate change, that I think we need to be working with everybody to try and get the very best expertise that we can.
And as you, which is absolutely fantastic. But as we do that, as we try and use this technology to address those huge global challenges, is the government thinking about how that it might regulate AI as it's deployed, well, particularly here in the UK, across private and public sector, particularly in light of the Centre for Data Ethics and Innovations report?
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier about how we're working with a whole series of different partners, and of course we have a digital standards team that leads cross-government efforts in looking at that. But of course we know that there are a whole range of challenges, and looking at who should be regulated and how that regulation should happen is one of the biggest challenges we have to face. We know that AI presents a whole range of opportunities and can be the solution to some of the big global problems we face, but actually we also know that it presents a number of challenges as well, and that's one of the things that we have to focus on.
Okay, and finally, before I move on to a different topic, can you give us the department's view or the government's view on how it sees the development of facial, talking about ethics and transparency, facial and emotion recognition technology?
Yeah, I mean it's really tricky. It's quite a contentious bit of technology. We asked the Centre for Data Ethics and Innovation to produce a kind of snapshot briefing paper looking at the uses and the potential implications of facial recognition technology and how it might be deployed in the UK. And that paper came out, I think it was 28th of May. So we're looking really carefully at its findings, and we have to navigate a very clear path between recognizing the opportunities but also understanding the risks.
Yeah. Okay. And do you know what the timing of that paper might be, or the response?
Well, clearly there's been quite a lot of additional pressures put on the team because of all the challenges of COVID and supporting the sector. But we hope to come back with that as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, I think we all accept that COVID has had a huge effect on everything, and of course, it's potentially driving digital adoption and innovation. Right. A few months ago, meetings like this were just completely unheard of. So as we do move from development of technology, particularly AI, towards adoption, what can the government do, do you think, to support and encourage adoption of AI? And as an aside, do we know what the current extent of AI adoption in business particularly, and the public sector, is across the UK?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. COVID, of course, has led to huge shifts in public demands on all sorts of tech, particularly AI. There was a recent survey which highlighted some really positive demand trends from startups in things like voice operated IP, things like e-health, of course, ed tech, that's been a massive thing, and of course things like cybersecurity, as well as some of the things that we've been using to entertain us over lockdown, such as on-demand viewing and gaming. So for example, in cybersecurity, Darktrace reported a 400% increase in demand for AI-powered email security, and in gaming, the UK unicorn Improbable said that spending has doubled, and a quarter of gamers spend an extra 5 hours a day. But then, half of gamers say that it helped lower their anxiety during the lockdown. So there are some, health benefits that come in almost an expected way. And actually, on tackling the virus itself, there is amazing work on AI accelerated drug discovery. There's an organization, Benevolent AI, which has been looking at how it can tackle some of the life-threatening conditions of COVID, and modeling protein structures, which up until now has taken really smart scientists years and years to model and predict protein structures, and this AI is able to do this much more quickly, and helping scientists understand the virus more quickly. So there's been some really innovative work. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, aren't I? I do apologise.
No. We're all here to hear you, not me. And so it's great to hear you so enthusiastic about this. One of the early Zoom sessions we had, taking evidence was with Tim Spector, who was the Professor Tim Spector, who's developed the COVID-19 symptoms tracking app, which of course has helped play a part in identifying additional symptoms, but also spotting what's going on. So yeah, there's huge potential, I think. We're also aware the Office for AI is working on a roadmap for 2021. Will that, well, I mean, I suppose, what will be the department's role in that, and what do you think the roadmap will deliver that can, help increase adoption across the UK?
Yeah, so it's still in development at the moment, but the government's really began to shift our focus from recovery and resilience from COVID, and we're looking at how the adoption of AI technologies could really become part of the wider recovery process. And so this AI roadmap is one of the vehicles for doing that. The Office for AI is the secretariat to the AI Council, and they're helping to sort of set the pace for the development of the roadmap, so it can slot into some of the wider government work. And they're writing the roadmap themselves, but they're asking for input from a community of 500 organisations and individuals who've signed up to help the work of the council. So it's a real a joint effort, a massive collaborative piece of work.
Excellent. And I mean, in practical terms, what do you think that will give us that we haven't got at the moment?
So I think it's really important to understand how the UK's AI ecosystem can continue to prosper and can capitalise on some of the demand from digital technology and keep us in a really globally competitive position as we emerge from this crisis. But but there's a massive benefit to society in being able to do that. So it's a kind of a win-win opportunity for us. Okay,
thank you. Now, if you're happy to, I'd like to talk a little bit about AI in the procurement and in public services. And I suppose the first question is, does the government intend to encourage the use of AI in decision-making across government and its various departments?
So I'd say that balancing adoption with data ethics considerations and suitability for the task in hand is the critical thing here. We think that AI technologies can really help ministers and public servants understand some of the complex issues, help them make decisions, deliver efficiencies, and potentially improve the quality of service to citizens. And we have got some, I don't know how much time you've got, but I have got some examples of some of, so on health, for example, NHSX was mobilised from the start, as you know, to understand how the ethical deployment of AI technology could assist in the COVID response. And they worked to launch the NHS COVID-19 data store to give national organisations secure and reliable and timely data so they could make quick and effective and well-informed decisions on deploying equipment to hotspots and directing patients to the hospitals with most capacity, and understanding how the virus is spreading locally. So there are some examples of where or there are wider initiatives that are sort of happening in this area.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite interesting that out of this crisis, the debate around the importance of data has hit the mainstream rather than, you know, the little niches that perhaps it once worked in, which I think is something we all need to capitalize on and help people understand what data is and what the power of data. But it is a powerful tool, but it obviously needs to be deployed against guidelines, so that when government is procuring AI to do these various things, how does it go about enforcing that it complies with the guidelines that it's drawn up?
So we've worked with the Office for AI worked with the Centre of the Fourth Industrial Revolution to co-design this guidelines for AI for procurement, and that's all about unlocking AI adoption in the public sector by giving a much clearer framework for the way we procure through public sector. And that's about enabling government departments to accelerate the adoption, but ensure at the same time that the public is comfortable with the way that AI-based systems can make decisions. And actually, these procurement guidelines have been really internationally applauded by people working in this space, because it's seen as setting a direction to establish kind of norms and standards both in the UK and around the world, which have got an ethical principle at their core, and look at a pragmatic and responsible adoption of AI.
Okay, so that the public is comfortable with the deployment of AI, which you mentioned, do we know where AI is currently deployed across government? Do we have a map of it? And are there areas where you think there is future deployments? You know, there are areas that we're keen to use this technology in.
Yeah. So we've already discussed healthcare. We can see AI being deployed in quite a wide range of delivering services to the public. For example, from identifying vehicles by departments like the Department of Transport and their agencies, to processing Earth observation data by DEFRA and the Environment Agency. And there's also this AI guide, which Government Digital Services published in 2019. It's all about using AI in the public sector, and it's all about helping leaders across the civil service understand what AI is, yeah, and how it can be used to solve problems within their department. I think it's more about sort of building confidence and supporting in that respect.
And I think that is absolutely right, and moves us nicely onto the last area, which is really around digital skills and understanding, and how we can, you know, enhance people's understanding of what AI is and what it isn't, to be fair, because it's often you know, hyped up to a level which is completely unachievable, but also the kind of digital skills and skills. And I think AI, we all accept, is going to play an increasing role in the way we work, the way we rest, the way we play. It's going to touch our lives at home, work, as we socialize, and also, of course, persuade us what is and isn't true, which is around, you know, fake news and spotting, that sort of thing. So how does the department, how does government intend to reach citizens who are completely unaware or virtually unaware of AI technology and what it can do? And does it have any plans to adopt similar schemes to other countries, such as Finland's Elements of AI, which is an online resource that I understand people have been taking part in and learning about AI in all its various guises?
We really like that, the Elements of AI work from Finland, and very helpfully has been produced in English so that we can take advantage of it too. So there's a whole range of things here. It's about developing skills, but there's also a thing around resilience and understanding, you know, making sure that people are able to identify some of the downsides of AI, you know, deep fakes and you know, potential for fraud, so people are, you know, well equipped, and I think when people are well equipped, then they're able to kind of, that reduces the sort of fear of kind of adopting new technology. But it's also about, you know, we're only going to be globally leading on this if we have citizens that are upskilled and have the right digital skills. So the Department of Education has developed a skills toolkit, and we've been in the DCMS, we've been part of that. And also they're looking at, there have been some recent further education reforms which are looking at much more higher technical qualifications that give a much stronger progression route for young people, and indeed adults looking to upskill and retrain. And I think the first route will be digital and expected to be available in September 2022. We're also working with, we've also worked with the Office of AI and DCMS to launch a degree conversion course program in data science and AI, providing the Office for students with £13 million to support this program, and at least 2,500 graduates will be supported through this process. So it's all about trying to reach out there and really trying to give people the skills they need to be able to capitalize on the new technology and make the most of it.
Yeah, because there are skills obviously around creating the technology, but there's also the skills around understanding and how it can be used, and then therefore deploying it in your business. And I think that's as big a challenge as those who are actually going to be doing the coding itself. And that applies potentially to an older audience, which is more difficult to engage with, because that's not a Department of Education, that's potentially the lifelong learning, that's potentially a Bayes issue, because businesses that don't adopt are likely to get left behind. Are there any innovative ideas about how we can reach those really hard to tap into groups?
So this sort of falls into a couple of different categories. With another hat on, I'm taking through the legislation on online harms, and part of the white paper on that was looking at ways that we could improve digital skills, but also literacy. And so there will be some suggestions coming through as a result of the online harms work, which is we're responding to the white paper consultation later on in the year. So that so there's a number of different streams working here to try and make sure that in some cases it's about giving people skills and upskilling people to be able to take the financial benefits from this whole sector, but in other areas it's about giving people the confidence and the resilience and the understanding to be able to access technology and be able to interact with it better.
Yeah, and do you feel there are any particular sectors that are lagging behind in that now? Bear in mind it's still relatively early days. I was thinking, how do we get more charities to adopt the use of AI, and potentially in targeting their delivery of services, but also potentially their fundraising?
Yeah, I think there's a whole range of different. So previously I was the Minister for for Care in the Department of Health and Social Care, and so there are lots of ways that we could support various aspects of the health and social care world to be able to embrace technology, and we've already seen a lot of it during COVID. We've seen how, for example, GPs have massively increased the number of online consultations and things like that. But I think that there's a whole lot further we could go that would really massively improve people's experience of the health and care system, and actually improve productivity as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So thank you for that. So really, it's one final question, and any other points you would care to make. So the final question is, and I'm sure you will agree, which is that there needs to be social inclusion as we deploy AI, and we need to ensure that all citizens, whatever their current role is, benefit from that in whether it's at work, whether it's in their personal lives, whether it's how they experience the country. Are you dedicated to ensuring that happens, and how do we all work together to make sure that no one's left behind?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely crucial, because actually, as a country, we're only going to fulfill our own potential, our national potential on a global scale, if we're capitalizing on the skills and the brilliance and the enthusiasm of everybody from society, really bringing everybody along with us. We've made these degree conversion courses in data science and AI. We've the DCMS have given £10 million for up to 1,000 scholarships as part of the funding for the programme. So that's about trying to help people to really sort of move into the right sort of skill set and develop some of the qualifications that they already have. But you know, we're so keen to make sure that we're capitalising on everybody's skills, because we're only going to fulfil our potential as a country if we're able to do that. And if your committee has got any other suggestions as to the way we do that better and more efficiently, then we're all ears. We're very keen to hear it.
Well, I mean, that's very reassuring to know, and thank you for that. We do attract experts from across a wide range of experiences, and we would be more than happy to work closely with you to help move this forward. And if there is anything you feel that we can tap into, if we can tap into our knowledge base on your behalf and you know, conduct any evidence gathering, you know, please feel free to approach us. We want to make this a long-lasting and close relationship with you, with the department and with the government, because we can all see the huge benefits this technology can deliver if deployed ethically and transparently, and bringing everyone along with us. So, and I think that's probably the point to draw this to a close, unless you have anything more you wish to add.
No, not really, Chairman. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come and have a chat with you today. And you know, really grateful for all the work that you and your team are doing on this. It is so important, as you say, from so many different perspectives. And we're really keen to look at the work that you guys are producing, because it all helps coordinate our own thinking on how we move forward as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Excellent. Yeah, I totally agree. So thank you so much indeed, Minister, for joining us, for giving us your time and your very forthright and open answers. And perhaps in due course, when there is further developments, we can do this again. As I said, please feel free to call on us whenever you need to.
Thank you.
Caroline Dinenage, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.